Welcome to the San Diego Prep Insider Baseball Podcast, which means, where are we, guys?
We're at Canyon Side Cages. And I just decided you go so many times with the bat, I gotta have a ball for this one.
There we go, that works. Coach, you don't have any sort of props? Maybe next week we can get you a prop.
I don't need any props. I'm all a coach.
All right, so we got the usual thing: top tens, game balls, Dave's dingers.
Top 10. A post-hurricane anarchy top 10. Everything I think it's safe to say has changed in San Diego high school baseball. Yes.
Yes, sir. Lots.
Can we start? Can we start with Dave's top 10?
Yeah, Dave, go for it.
All right, you got it. So I'm going to start with 10. I got two teams in the top 10 this week. It was hard for me. I got Grossmont going to sneak in there, and San Ysidro, one of my biggest surprises here.
I love when you put two teams in number 10.
They are rolling right now. Number 9, Ramona. I still think they're a very solid team, even though despite a few losses. Poway's on a roll. They won the Lions tournament in their bracket. RB, number 7. Westview, number 6. They are 9-3 now. I told you guys in the last episode I'd be moving them up. They're on a roll also. Helix, number 5. Cathedral, I'm going to bump them down to 4.
Ooh.
They've lost a couple tough games. I think it's kind of shook them up a little bit and got them kind of back on track. We'll probably see them in the top 3 soon again. Torrey Pines, number 3. They are leading all of the section in home runs, basically. They've got 3 guys in the top 3 with 3 home runs.
Dang.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
A lot of power there,
so
right?
nine home runs between 3 guys. Eastlake, number 2. And one of the biggest surprises of the last couple weeks, a team that has just rolled through the Lions tournament, pretty much beat every team in this top 10 that you see here, and that's San Marcos. I'm going to give them the number 1 slot for this week.
Jumping from off the radar to the top of the podium in 1 week. Way to go, San Marcos, mixing things up. Or not even really mixing things up. They're 2-time defending CIF champions, so perhaps it'd be unfair to say that they are coming out of nowhere, but definitely coming on strong in the last couple weeks. Tommy, hit us with the SDPI top 10.
Yeah, probably a pretty big discrepancy between our 2 top 10s and a big shakeup, like you said. Number 10, we have Grossmont. Number 9 is Westview. 8, La Costa Canyon. 7, Poway. Cathedral is going to be number 6 on our poll. 5, Torrey Pines. 4, Helix. 3, Rancho Bernardo. 2, Eastlake. And number 1 on ours as well, San Marcos.
And the Knights making a big old swing. Speaking of big old swings, you want to hit us with Dave's Dingers this week?
Of course, my favorite segment. One of these days I'm going to have a big
make some
Dave's Dinger shirts. All right, Daniel Ortiz, Mar Vista, an impressive year so far. He's got 2 dingers. You'll hear Tommy talk about him a little bit. He's been pitching really well also. Bradley Jeremiah and Grant Nielsen over at Christian, they've got 2 home runs each. Wouldn't be surprised if they start getting rolling a little bit. They've had some injuries.
They had a big win against Otay Ranch. It kind of looked like that was maybe a turning point.
Big win. Like I said, they had some injuries, so they're trying to fight through that, and it looks like they're coming out on top here. Jake McAllister for Sage Creek has got 2 home runs.
You love you some Sage Creek.
The day of the Sage Creek. And Billy Tellis, Steel Canyon, he's got 2 home runs. The day of the 2 home run crew here. And I wanted to give some love to a guy that hit his first career home run at Eastlake, Keone Cavaco. He is a SDSU commit. Very impressed with his swing. Congrats to you, man. We're going to hear him hitting a lot of home runs this year.
Going, yeah. Tommy, hit us with your game balls.
Yeah.
Wait, do you have any other game balls in general, or are we?
I can do game balls.
We'll go back and forth. Tommy, game balls.
Daniel Ortiz, one more time. This time from the mound. He was pitching in their 3-1 win. Mar Vista's 3-1 win over Mount Carmel. It's a big win for those guys. Elijah Jackson, 3 hits in the Lions tournament championship game for San Pasqual. So good to see San Pasqual win the tournament. And Elijah with a big game.
We'll talk about them in a little bit.
And then we've got Christian Lewis, 7 shutout innings. This game went 11 innings, but it's the first 7 of them were Christian Lewis is for RB in their win over Torrey Pines, shutting out Torrey Pines over 11 innings. We talked about how many home runs they have. To shut them out over 11 innings is incredible. Good job all around from RB.
Games like that just get me excited because we are really in a year where it seems like from matchup to matchup there is so much difference in results. You know, you put the right guy on the mound and it doesn't matter who you're facing. You put the wrong guy for that line. There's just so much variability and guessing still left to go this season. Dave, hit us with your game balls.
Yeah, it was impressive to see San Marcos kind of coming out on top there. RB ran out of pitching in the tournament, and so that's kind of it really showed the strength of some of these teams and some of the weaknesses in some of these teams in a sense that, the pitching is going to show kind of what it's like to be in the playoffs in the end of the season. So game balls. little pitcher-heavy game ball.
That's what's up. Hey, I'm
Yeah.
all in favor of that.
Christian did not pay me off to do this. Tim Carlson, he's a pitcher at Sarah. He's got 3 wins, helping those guys to a reasonable win-loss record. Leo Mosby, he's part of the reason why I've got Westview in my top 10 this year. He's got 3 wins also. Ryan Sanborn Parker, he's got 3 wins. They're on the fringe for me. You know, a couple of these teams are playing really good ball, and I wouldn't be surprised to kind of flip-flop Parker with a Grossmont or a Poway here and there. Parker's really solid this year. Ryan Perot, Valhalla, he was 2 for 4 against La Jolla. They shut him down that game. And 2 pitchers that led their team to Lions tournament's victories, Ben Castiglia, Scripps Ranch, and Zach Prajner, San Marcos, dealt. And he gave like 0 runs, 6 innings, just outstanding outing for those guys against, it was RB.
Also, that Valhalla win, that could be another one where you look sort of checking off the boxes. Is that a turning point? Maybe could be a big win there for Valhalla. Guys, we talked about a couple teams pretty consistently. We talked about Westview being surprising. We talked about a little bit about Poway being in our top 10. You gave San Ysidro some love. Let's take a little bit deeper look at some of the seasons that those teams are having. Let's do kind of a league dive in. I want to toss up the Palomar League to you guys first. So for those of you out there in San Diego, I'll give everyone here a refresher on how the Palomar League is shaping up right now. Poway in first place at 11-3. Westview, second place, 9-3. Rancho Bernardo, 10-4. They are third. Rounding it out, we got Del Norte, then Mount Carmel, then Mission Vista. So guys, this seems like the Palomar really is maybe a little bit tighter than everyone else thought, with only 1 game separating the top 3 teams. Just kind of give me your gut reaction, just your first glance at what you think this league is shaping up to be right now.
This is almost reminding me of the league maybe 3-4 years back, you know, when Poway was really running it through hitting the baseball hard. You know, they've got a guy by the name of Dayton Dooney over there. He was hitting like 500 this last week. I mean, the guy's on fire. I think it's, you know, we're not noticing RB have as much pitching this year. We're seeing Westview with a lot of pitching this year, and it's definitely shaping up to be a 3-horse race, really. You know, and in the past, I haven't seen Poway be this strong and RB kind of show some of their weaknesses this early in the season. So it's kind of surprising to me, in a sense that it's a little different than last year.
Just to kind of follow up a couple of stats, backing up what you're saying, Poway leading the league in runs 4 with 98 runs already scored this season, just a notch shy of 100. Westview leading the league in lowest or fewest runs allowed with only 40. They are 5 ahead of the next closest team. So it's really interesting to see it break it down where the hitting and the pitching are that first and that second team, because it means that this is not going to just be necessarily a shootout to the very end of the season. Tommy, what are you breaking this down as?
Yeah, and I'm going to go with the third team that's not either one of those. I'm going to talk about RB a little bit. I mean, they've had a tough schedule in the early going, not like the other ones haven't, but I still think it's their league to lose, basically. I think that, you know, they're going to come into league play coming up pretty shortly here, and I think they're still going to be the top dogs that everyone's going to be gunning after once they start league play.
Just want to throw one hypothetical little scenario into this. Del Norte is still only 3.5 games back. You have this much power at the top, potential cancel each other out type, you win one, we'll win one games. Would not be surprised if Del Norte keeps at least the pressure on for the rest of the season and makes this truly a 4-horse race down to the very end. Really excited to see that one. Let's move. You guys want to go a little bit more South Bay, or you want to go into the city?
Let's go south.
Yeah, let's
You want to go South Bay?
Back south.
All right, look, here's what we got to talk about. Metro Mesa League. Oh my goodness, guys. San Ysidro in first place at 12-4. Eastlake in second, 9-3, and the rare 1 tie. Otay Ranch in third. Bonita Vista, Montgomery Hilltop rounding out the rest of that league. I would say, what's your initial reaction? But I'm assuming it's both you're gonna want to talk about San Marcos first. You already gave them a little love in your game ball, or I'm sorry, San Ysidro. You already gave them a little bit of love in your game ball. So Tommy, I'll let you have the first crack at this league. And what do you see?
Yeah, I mean, it's again, Eastlake is Eastlake, so it's gonna be tough for anyone to top them. But San Ysidro is a team that I didn't really think about that much in the beginning of the year. We're making our top 10s and stuff like that. Now they're a team that almost needs to be in there. They were 10B or 10A, whoever you want to put it, for coaches' top 10. They're right on the cusp of ours as well. So San Ysidro, I mean, can they top Eastlake in this league? Probably not, but it wouldn't surprise me if they snuck out a game.
Montgomery's playing some good ball. They just lost to Mira Mesa recently. Bonita Vista has a strong team. You know, they're going to hover right around that 500 mark, which I wouldn't be surprised if they beat a San Ysidro and beat an Eastlake, you know, take a game from them this year. They've got some thumpers over there. Like you said, Eastlake's going to be tough to beat in league play. They've got two pitchers that, you know, are hard to beat, you know, and Leonhardt and Holman. And they're going to basically ride those guys to the end of the season. Not that San Ysidro doesn't have pitching. That's one of their strengths. That's why they have that 12-4 record. I just feel like Eastlake's pitchers are above and beyond.
Well, to kind of illustrate that point right now, I'll break you down with some stats. Both San Ysidro and Eastlake scored 91 runs to this point in the season, so the exact same identical output from the offense. Don't want to necessarily say they have the same offenses, but the same run-wise output, almost or more than 20 less runs given up, though, by the Eastlake pitching staff. Say what you will about schedules and rotations and all that, just kind of an interesting point that San Ysidro is winning the closer ones, but they're winning the ones they need to win to at least be in the mix. And you know, Otay Ranch is a team that we kind of put on our maybe they're going to be in the top 10, so they sneak a game. You always love talking about this right before league play starts because you never know how much more anarchy this is all going to break down into. Guys, I asked you about the city also, so I'm going to take us in there to look at the city league right now. Lincoln leading that 7-3 is their record. Claremont in second, a game back at 7-5. Mission Bay, Kearney, Crawford, Morse, Hoover rounding out the city league. Now, guys, you know, we can put all of this in context and say, well, none of them are in the top 10, but at the same time, a league title is still on the line here. Claremont, Lincoln, are they going to be the ones all the rest of this season to hold on, or do you see anybody in here that can make a run at this?
Well, looking at the top 4 teams in the league, Kearney has had one pitcher basically have all their wins, and so they're going to ride that one pitcher out, so it's going to be tough for them. Mission Bay, you look at a team that's got some new coaching and that's starting to roll again. They're starting to get their program back. It's been a couple, you know, down years for Mission Bay, but I think the Mission Bay and Claremont are going to be the two teams that give Lincoln the biggest trouble. Lincoln has some really good hitting and pitching this year, and I just don't really see Mission Bay kind of sneaking in there, but I do see it's really a two-horse race with Claremont and Lincoln kind of going neck and neck for the league title.
Tommy?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there. The only thing that scares me about Mission Bay is they've only scored 19 runs so far this season. So in 12 games, it's not ideal, but they're still winning ball games. So they find a way. They've played some tough teams, and they've had a couple good wins. Claremont, same thing. They've had some impressive wins. They've also had some losses where you kind of shake your head and kind of wonder what happened. Lincoln, schedule strength has not been there, so it's kind of a question mark still. But I think Claremont's probably going to be the one that comes away with this division. But I think those 3 teams are going to be the ones that are going to be duking it out when we come around towards the end of the season.
I'm going to go in favor of Lincoln. Just right now, I like the team that's already in first type mentality. I would say to an extent, I like San Ysidro when we were talking about them. They are just in first right now, and sometimes you play the hot hand, and that's what's so great about baseball is it is not always a straight mathematical equation of this team is physically larger than that team, so they will win. This team is better at hitting, so it is just you play the hot hand. Right now, I'm going to say that Lincoln is playing the hottest hand. We're going to do a couple leagues every week now that we actually have a sample of games worth talking about and whatnot. It's all too hypothetical at the beginning of the season.
I do really enjoy baseball stats after like 3 games when guys are on pace for 800 home runs and hitting 500.
And the Padres are on pace to not win one this year. Guys,
so they're going to go 158-4.
Okay, something like that. We're still looking for more Dave's Dingers to be submitted. We're still looking for more King of K's to be submitted. We're still looking for more people stealing bases and all of that. Guys, where can they find you on Twitter?
At Real Tommy Morris. Any sort of athletic defensive play, any stolen bases, anything like that, any sneaky plays, I'm afraid, any trick plays,
maybe a pick-off?
Trick play, pick-off, something like that, send them my way.
I'm at Mr. CPED. The show is SD Prep Insider. Dave, where can they find you?
At David Ring 4 or CanyonsideCages.com if you want to learn how to hit the long ball.
And chicks do indeed dig the long ball, as they have said since the dawn of time. Folks, we will see you next week for another installment of the San Diego Prep Insider High School Baseball Podcast.
They also like sacrifice bunts, too. Nothing better.